It is time.
All right, good evening. I'm Bill Bowie. Welcome to our committee and board meetings this evening, June 22nd, 2022. I will make the requisite motions so that we can conduct these meetings virtually. To conduct this meeting wholly electronically and to effectuate both the emergency procedures authorized by FOIA and the Fairfax County Emergency Ordinance. The Park Authority Board needs to make certain findings and determinations for the record, as we did at our first electronic meeting. During our meeting, if you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand. And when I recognize you, please say your name. This will ensure that you are recognized and the public knows who is speaking. If you intend to vote nay or abstain on any item, we will do a roll call on those votes. Because each member of this board is participating in these meetings from a separate location, we must verify that a quorum of members is participating and that each member's voice is clear, audible, and at appropriate volume for all of the other members. Accordingly, I'm going to conduct a roll call and ask each board member participating in this meeting to state your name and the location from which you are participating. I ask that each one of you pay close attention to ensure that you can hear each one of your colleagues. And following the roll call, we will vote to establish that every member can hear every other member, and we will go alphabetically. As the evening progresses, if additional board members join us for our meetings, I will ask them to verify their audibility and their location. All right. Dr. Cynthia Carter.
This is Cynthia Jacobs Carter, and I am participating from my home in Lee District.
Maggie Godbold.
This is Maggie Godbold, and I'm participating from my home in the Sully District.
Linwood Gorham.
This is Linwood Gorham, and I'm participating from my home in the Mount Vernon Magisterial District.
Tim Hackman.
Tim Hackman from my residence in the Drainsville District.
Faisal Khan.
This is Faisal Khan at my residence in Providence District.
Ken Quincy.
Ken Quincy, I'm at my residence in the Providence District.
Kyle Stone.
This is Kyle Stone, joining from my residence in the Braddock District.
Mike Thompson.
Mike Thompson from my office in Alexandria.
And Jim Zook.
Jim Zook, participating from my home in the Springfield District.
And I'm Bill Bowie, and I am participating from my residence in the Hunterville District.
Chairman
Ron,
Bowie, Chairman,
yes.
Chairman, we missed Abina.
Oh, Abina, are you there?
I am here. I'm participating from my home in the Lee District.
What's your name?
Abina Aidu.
Thank you. Ron Kendall will be absent and excused this evening. At this point, I'll pass the virtual gavel over to Vice Chairman Godbold so that I may be heard to make the requisite motion. I move that each member's voice may be adequately heard by each other member of this board.
Maggie Godbold, you have heard the motion. Is there a second?
Yeah, this is Mike Thompson. I second the motion.
Maggie Godbold, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Mr. Chairman, that motion passes.
Thank you, Maggie. This is Bill Bowie. Second, having established that each member's voice may be heard by each other member, we must next establish the nature of the emergency that compels these emergency procedures, the fact that we are meeting electronically, what type of electronic communication is being used, and how we have arranged for public access to this meeting. Therefore, I move that the state of emergency caused by the COVID-19 pandemic makes it unsafe for this board to physically assemble and unsafe for the public to physically attend any such meeting, and that as such, FOIA's usual procedures, which require the physical assembly of this board and the physical presence of the public, cannot be implemented safely or practically. I further move that this board may conduct this meeting electronically through Zoom. It is so moved.
Maggie Godbold, you have heard the motion. Is there a second?
Tim Hackman, I second.
Maggie Godbold, is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Mr. Chairman, the motion is approved.
Thank you very much, Maggie. This is Bill Bowie. So we have the preliminary matters out of the way and we can begin our budget committee meeting. Remember, when you're talking, please state your name and I will turn it over to Chairman Quincy.
Ken Quincy, I will call the Budget Committee meeting to order and ask Mr. Mike Peters to present the items.
Thank you very much, Chairman Quincy. This is Michael Peter. I have two budget items to discuss this evening. One is informational with discussion, and then one we are requesting an action. First, we are presenting from the staff perspective our proposed outline of how we will handle the FY 2024 budget process. That's what's starting up here very soon. Will lead into the September-October timeframe as we go through our internal processes, ultimately leading up to the county executive's proposed budget in February. So this is what we're proposing to make sure there is opportunity for public input and several stops along the way so we can ensure a robust budget process this year. If you could go to the next slide, please, Allison. So tonight, we are discussing this proposed calendar and our general strategies, again, to ensure that we have public participation along the way. Again, our park authority is a little bit different from the rest of the government agencies in that our proposed budget items, even before they go to the county executive, ultimately, are public. We discuss these in the fall, you endorse them. So we have an opportunity to be able to engage with the public and hear what it is that the public is looking for from the park authority in the next year. So this is our first stop tonight. In about a month, when we're planning to come back with our FY22 year-end results, we'll talk a little bit about what happened this past year and what we're looking at from the staff perspective for our high-level goals and objectives for the upcoming year. Once we are able to work through that with members of the board, then we'll spend the month of August when the board is not meeting, going through our internal department engagement, working through our divisions to really parse through what those department priorities are looking like, making sure that we have adequate data, justification, and we're working all of these things through, again, with the division directors and with the director's office as well. Next slide, please. That would lead us into a lot of heavy discussion in the month of September, that we would come back on September 14th, we'd be providing background on our current budget, going over our recent budget requests, and we'd be presenting those requests that we would have been formulating over the summer with justification and, of course, discuss the impact on equity. We'll also, once we have that conversation with the Park Authority Board, we would then meet with our Department of Management and Budget and our CFO to review those budget priorities. And then as we work through those issues, we would release those final budget requests as part of the board package for the meeting that would be happening at the end of September, allowing for public review and then public comment at that September 28th meeting, which would allow for a lot of discussion over those final budget requests. Next slide, please. So that's what we've outlined at this point. What that leads us up to then is at the end of September, beginning of October is when we are submitting our budget requests within the county. Certainly we'll be working through our revenue and operating fund as we normally would with the Park Authority Board. This is really focused on those pieces that would be part of the general fund request, which is what is submitted internally at the end of September and October. So with that, Chairman Quincy, I'd like to send it back over for any discussion. And I know, Jay, that you had a few issues that we could discuss here, and I also saw Tim Hackman's hand up.
Who's first, Jay?
And go through the questions first. I think I'm going to cover some of it during my director's matters, but go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so then just quickly, the school board seems to have set up a process of having a budget meeting with the supervisors in the late fall to present their priorities. I think our individual meetings with the supervisors that we had last spring after the budget, the county budget was advertised, were worthwhile and beneficial. And I'm wondering if we should, once we put together our proposed FY24 budget, then take that to each of the supervisors and show and explain to them the request or what it is that we're asking for and why, and sort of what the then status of the park authority is. So I think that might be beneficial.
I agree. Linwood?
A little bit of a curveball to this particular discussion, but I think very relevant to it. We talk about in budget times when the supervisors decide how much they're going to give us each year, what the percentage, of the total county budget is that we get. This popped into my head when Tim was talking about the school budget, which is over 50% of the entire county budget, as we sit at less than 1% of the total county budget. Is it maybe time that we start putting some options for budgets out there to give some ideas of what kind of services we could provide and provide better if we were given a bigger budget that we have more consistent with some of the surrounding jurisdictions and stuff? Is this the time to start asking for this kind of stuff? And if it's not, kind of what is the time to start having those discussions?
Let me step up here and say that the advocacy that we received in the spring was tremendous. It set about turning the wheels across the street with DMB, and each one of you individually in meeting with your supervisors shed a new light on some of the areas that we need to focus on, especially around equity. I think that Jay and the team and the folks at DMB across the street are formulating a plan for rolling that out. And I think that we will probably be in a better position in September to talk to that, because I really don't want us to derail the progress, the tremendous progress that has been made since those things happened in the spring and as recently as a couple of weeks ago. So that's it. That's as much as I want to say about it right now. I think Jay will say a little bit more about that during the course of the meeting, but the train is going in the correct direction at the correct speed. And I think right now, let's let it run its course until September, and we'll have a better idea.
That's good. And of course, when I make this kind of suggestion, I like it to be done with as positive a spin on it as possible. But
absolutely,
I really do think we need to keep pursuing this concept of more. It's pretty fresh in my mind right now. Constantly getting requests from constituents of things that they're a couple years off money wise and budget wise and that kind of thing. But I have to say the nature of the last couple that have been brought to me, really we should have had the money to address them already. And it's this kind of increase and higher percentage of county budget and that kind of thing that's going to get it done. To me, it just appears that the public is just getting more and more demanding, probably rightfully so, of the quality of their government provided services. Anyway.
Yeah, the other thing, that's a great comment, Linwood. And the other thing that I would encourage is, again, going back to the beginning of my time on the board and as chair, we do have certain unrestricted proffer funds within some of the districts. I encourage you, especially in the name of One Fairfax and equity, that if we've got access to those funds, let's see if we can find projects where we can put a hole or put a dent in some of these things to show the public how hard we're trying to work to meet their needs. And I would also push the Maston Brook program for those that are able to step up and make either sweat equity contributions or monetary contributions, so that we can move some of these smaller projects ahead.
I'm completely with you, and I've been trying to allocate some of the proffer funds that are available in Mount Vernon to these kind of things. But to me, and this is kind of a negative way to say it, but nevertheless, I feel like we're so underfunded that we don't have the staff to execute the stuff in a timely manner. And if we just had some more money for staff to work on some of the capital projects and some of the maintenance and stuff like that, that's one of the directions I think we need to work on going in the future.
Tim Hackman, a couple other comments. I agree with you on Maston Brook, and in fact, I think that we ought to perhaps look at the guidelines or the rules for Maston Brook, so that there might be a way to expand the partnerships for things that don't currently fit within the guidelines, but are activities or projects that we think overall would benefit the Park Authority. And secondly, I think we're already doing this, but a resilient Fairfax, sustainable Fairfax is another key theme of the future. And we ought to be doing things to tout, for example, the carbon capture retention of our massive trees and natural spaces, and maybe get some additional funding to help to maintain those or improve those. So
you're a great straight man, because those are some of the conversations that I've had with county leadership within the past 7 days.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, Ken,
Oh, yes, Mike.
I just, so I understand, as the county begins to work through their budget, do I anticipate correctly that they are probably less optimistic about the economy than they were 6 months or a year ago, and that will probably have an impact on the struggles? I appreciate the idea of, wouldn't it be great to have more? I'm frankly concerned that we're going to be fighting to keep what we have, because depending on the turn of the economy and stuff like that. So I wonder if we've gotten any thoughts out of the budget operation of the county of what they think is going to happen.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, J. Cole, Executive Director, correct me if I start to not be truthful. Mike, I think I got this one. But if the calendar that we had up there, the order of which things go, we need to be telling you, our board, what it is that we're proposing prior to telling anybody else what it is that we're proposing. We link those two by a day, with the idea that we would be coming to you with our proposal. We talk it through. The next day we meet with OMB or DMB to be talking about what they see as sort of budget guidance, like what they see in tax receipts and those things, those kind of things. We need to come back and sort of reconnoiter or change things around or whatever it is based on what they see. If we think that we're going to have $10 million, we're not going to come with a $15 million, budget ask, right? So we have to right size it for what it looks like. So that's kind of the chicken or the egg type of situation, but that's why we put those back to back. It's the very next day.
This is Mike Thompson. No, I appreciate that, Jay. I guess what I'm asking is, have we begun to get an idea of what their thinking is in terms of economic issues and things that we face? And I guess the sense I'm getting from Mike shaking his head is we really haven't gotten any indication at this point.
I don't think they usually do that. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. They don't usually do that until later on in the year, correct?
That's correct, Jay. This is Mike Peter, Admin Division Director. Usually, when we get a little further into the summer and the start of the fiscal year, we will get a good sense from the different statistical analysis units that will talk a little bit about what we can expect, what we think is going to happen. Right now, nothing's really been adjusted as far as the economic outlook is concerned, but I am sure, Mr. Thompson, as you are talking about, that we will see impacts from, at the very least, things like fuel prices and overall inflation as things are going. But at the same time, when we talk with our investment units, because the interest rates are increasing, the interest income is increasing as well. So it'll be a very mixed bag, but later in the summer, when we come to talk about our year-end results, I'm sure we can share at that point what the county's talked a little bit about in terms of what the leading indicators are.
All right, thank you.
There'll be a lot more.
I can tell you from, I'm on the Reston Community Center board, and our budget direction, we just turned our budget direction over to the county to finalize our budget going into FY24. Right now, the revenue projections are very, very strong for the next 2 cycles. That doesn't include expenses, but the revenue projections are extremely strong. And as Mike said, with the interest rates going up on what we have, that is also going to present us with some unique opportunities, especially if we sell the bonds. We'll see additional dollars that we would not have seen in the past.
Okay, well, there'll be time for a lot more discussion on this. We're running a little short of time right now.
Ken, can I just real quick, once
Yes.
I know we're short on time, I just wanted to wrap up the equity conversations. Everybody remembers, this is Jay Cole, Executive Director. If everybody remembers when we were talking about what we received in FY23 dollars, part of that was a large chunk for equity, $500,000 for equity. We are working right now with solidifying a contract with a consultant to be looking at what our needs are or where we're going to go with equity come the fall. We, as I think Bill mentioned, we're working hand in hand across the street. We're working very well with DMV on both our CIP, and we will be working with the county on our operating budget. A little bit to what Mike Thompson was asking and what Bill was saying, it's really important to have a direction that we're going and a tiered approach or a phased in approach to make it doable, and so that we can actually get it done. So we're going to be talking about that when we come into the budget conversations in September, and that'll be part of our prioritization of what we're asking for. So I just wanted to throw a little bit of a caveat out there about we are working very heavily on equity.
Thank you, Jay. There's no other comments on this one. Are we ready to move to the item number 2, Mike?
Yes, Mr. Quincy. Thank you. Next slide, please. In discussions with the Department of Management and Budget and the Chief Financial Officer, we've been focusing on better ways we can work to achieve the Park Authority Board's vision and enhance the fiduciary responsibility and the tools that are available to the board as well. And as part of that, in our discussion, we're reminded that the Revenue and Operating Fund under your responsibility is not appropriated by the Board of Supervisors, which essentially means that what we've done generally each year in terms of budget adjustments, usually at the third quarter, is focused with the county process. So this year, if you'll recall, a few months ago, we came to you with February projections that certainly increased our budget, but it was still based on our camps and our classes being at about 80% capacity. Well, as we fast forwarded to May 2022, we were able to, with the guidance and understanding of what was happening in the state and the country, we were able to move to full capacity for those camps and classes. So we're in a situation now where our revenue and our expense continues to increase, and we don't quite have enough budget authority to be able to take care of the expenses and the revenue associated with those full capacity increases. So what we're proposing, and I know this was put out there just a little bit late, we were negotiating on what the numbers actually ended up needing to be. We are focusing on asking the Park Authority Board through the Budget Committee for an increase in budget authority of $1.5 million in salary and revenue. There's no net impact, and we will be projecting additional revenue even over and above this. Reminding everyone before we go to the next slide that we entered into this year with almost a $3 million negative fund balance, and we've been able to fight our way back to projected positive balance. So if you take a look, Allison, at the next slide, what we're requesting, and I've compared this to FY21 actuals, you can see we have our current budget, which has total net revenue in the current year of about almost $4.2 million. What we're asking is to increase the revenue projection in the budget by $1.5 million and the expenses. So we have the budget authority to complete this year with the additional capacity that we have added in our camps and classes. So Mr. Quincy, that's the overview, and a little bit more detail is provided in the revised budget package as well. So I'd like to turn it back over to you. See if there are any questions or concerns.
Any questions or comments? Is there a consensus to move this forward?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Mike. I will hereby adjourn, Ken Quincy, I will hereby adjourn the Budget Committee.
All right, I'd like to turn it over to Chairman Linwood Gorham for the Park Operations Committee.
This is Linwood Gorham, and I'd like to call the Park Operations Committee to order. I'd also like to turn it right over to Dan Sutherland for the presentation for this evening.
Good evening, everyone. This is Dan Sutherland with the Park Operations Division. What we have for you tonight is a request to name an athletic field at Pine Ridge Park for Wanda Rickson. Next slide, please. Some background on the request. The request is being made by Penny Schulstad and other members of the Fairfax Women's Soccer Association. Wanda has been with Fairfax Women's Soccer Association and involved with athletic fields and women's soccer in general since 1978. In that time, she has partnered with the Park Authority, Board of Supervisors, Fairfax County Athletic Council, as well as others to promote women's soccer. Along the way, she has partnered to help develop and improve Pine Ridge Park, as well as multiple other rectangle fields throughout the parks. At one point in her long support for the Park Authority, she helped, quote, save Pine Ridge, unquote, when she was the co-chair of a green team that helped lobby to save Pine Ridge Park. Next slide, please. Some background on that. As many of you may be aware, Pine Ridge Park used to be a school site and owned by the school system. And at one point, even after we had developed it with fields, there was consideration for selling it or actually turning it into a school itself. And she helped lead the efforts to try to save it as a park. Anyway, as those efforts, the green team, which Wanda was a part of, received an Ellie Doyle Award in 1998. With efforts, greatly so. The park was actually dedicated officially in 2001. Along the way, she also partnered to help convert rectangle fields to synthetic at Wakefield and Woodson High School. And she was also influential in creating soccer opportunities for seniors by creating divisions within Fairfax Women's Soccer for over 50 and over 58 players. And lastly, she was awarded with the iconic Woman Award by Women and Girls Soccer in Soccer Association for tireless promotion of soccer for women and girls. Bye. As you see here with an aerial of Pine Ridge Park, the proposed naming is for Field 6, and the proposed sign location is shown there in green. Next slide, please. And there's a little bit of a mock-up of what it would look like if the field was named for Wanda. Next slide, please. And then finally, I wanted to show you the existing namings for the other facilities within the park. As you see there, quite a lot of the fields, as well as other amenities like batting cages and the garden plots are already named. And it would be a valuable addition to potentially name Field 6 after Wanda, given her contributions that are many. Is there any questions?
This is Linwood again. Ron reached out to me and asked me to make sure that I let everybody know that he strongly supports this renaming and asks for your support.
I just want to put a little bit of a fine point on, we have a lot of, this is Jay Cole, Executive Director, sorry. We have a lot of fields named after people and facilities named after people, and their majority of them are in one demographic. And so to get a little bit more of a variety of people who are so important for athletics in the county is really important. So I just wanted to put that out there, that the staff is also very strongly supportive of this nomination.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Thank you all.
Yeah, seeing thank you, Dan, very much. Anybody else have any matters for the Park Operations Committee? Seeing none. Well, I guess I need to ask if we have a consensus to move this name forward.
Yes, we do.
Very much so.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'm adjourning the Park Operations Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Gorman. And we will go right into the Park Authority Board meeting. This is Bill Bowie, and everybody that is going to join has joined us. So I'd like to call the June 22nd, 2022 Park Authority Board meeting to order. We usually start with a public comment period. Judy, I understand that there are no speakers that are signed up this evening.
That is correct. This is Judy Peterson, PIO. Chairman Bowie, there are no speakers.
Okay. Well, with that, we will go on to administrative items. Countywide admin item number 1 is the board resolution to honor Trina Taylor, who has served the residents of Fairfax County for over 30 years, working in a variety of roles in the Park Services Division.
I second the motion. Ken Quincy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries. The resolution. Whereas Trina Taylor has served the residents of Fairfax County for 34 years in a variety of positions, including front desk manager, recreation programmer, and general manager of Providence, George Washington, and Mount Vernon Rec Centers with skill and professionalism. And whereas Trina was known as a highly effective trainer and was one of the selected inaugural instructors for the Ellis and Associates lifeguard instructor trainer program and was a key facilitator for the Leadership for Result and the Total Quality Management training programs, where she trained scores of Park Authority staff. And whereas Trina played a key role in the renovation planning of Mount Vernon Rec Center, navigating this multi-year process to reach the point of renovation, expansion of this 40-year-old building, as the trusted point person that kept the community informed and engaged in the process. And whereas a proven problem solver, excellent time manager with strong interpersonal skills and leadership abilities, she created a culture of service, driven staff who are motivated to serve and create a welcoming environment for all to enjoy the facilities the Park Authority has to offer. And whereas Trina is well known for her leadership and staff development skills, and has coached, mentored, and trained countless staff who were later promoted. And whereas her retirement is well deserved, she will be greatly missed for many reasons already mentioned, and because she is simply a wonderful person, a great friend to many, is darn good at her job, and her contributions have made the Park Authority a much better place for the residents of Fairfax County to come visit, play, and relax. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Fairfax County Park Authority Board that it expresses appreciation and thanks to Trina Taylor for dedicated and outstanding contributions to the Fairfax County Park Authority and the residents of Fairfax County, adopted by the Fairfax County Park Authority Board on June 22nd, 2022. Congratulations, Trina. Trina, thank you very much. And now is your time for the stage.
So Trina Taylor, and I just wanted to say it has been an honor to serve as a representative of the Park Authority. What we do makes a difference in people's lives. I'll be leaving with lasting memories of serving, some memories poignant, powerful, others entertaining, very entertaining, but most inspiring and fulfilling. I also leave with lasting friendships with people I've had the privilege of working with and learning from over the years. Okay, 34 long years, but it has been a joy. And finally, on behalf of the community we serve at Mount Vernon Recreation Center, I want to thank each of you on the board for supporting the difficult decision to move the renovation forward, understanding the impacts the project has to other projects, as well as the challenges of a full 2-year closure. Mount Vernon is a hub in the Mount Vernon community, and I'm thrilled at the prospect of how much more vital it will become with its reopening. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Linwood. If I could, I'd like to make a comment or two. Trina was one of the first people in the field I met when I came on the Park Authority board. She's been the manager of the Mount Vernon Rec Center the entire time I've been on the board, and from my perspective has done nothing but a stellar job and kept the place running silky smooth. And I know for sure that there are some people in the Mount Vernon district that use that facility that are sometimes a little harder than other people to keep happy, and nobody does a better job at keeping people happy than Trina. And I would like to say thank you very much, Trina. And as we all expect to be doing some groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings in the near future here, in the next couple years, I'd like to formally invite you to those right now and participate in them. And I really hope that you will come and help us celebrate those things that you had such a big part in making happen. Thank you again for everything you've done in your service to the Park Authority.
And Trina, I don't know if you're going to drop off. I don't know if you're going to drop off after. I was going to say something in my director's matters. I just wanted to, again, thank you so much. You're one of those employees that make me want to change the retirement age to 45. years until it's my turn to retire, then we can go back to go backwards. But thank you so much, and I'll be very happy to hand you your golden ticket.
That's great. Thanks, Trina. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, countywide admin item number 2 is the adoption of the minutes of the June 8th, 2022 Park Authority Board meeting.
I second this is Maggie Godbold. I second the motion to adopt the minutes of the June 8th board meeting.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries. In the Drainsville District, A1 scope approval of the Turner Farm Park equestrian parking lot.
I move, as Tim Hackman, I move we approve the scope of the Turner Farm Park equestrian parking lot project.
This is Mike Thompson. I second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries. Countywide A2 FY 2022 budget revision fund 80,000 park revenue and operating fund as discussed this evening.
I so move. Ken Quincy.
This is Mike Thompson. I second the motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries. Okay. Chairman's matters. A great time was had by a wonderful group of people on Saturday at Frying Pan Farm Park with the second annual celebration of Juneteenth. The park was absolutely packed. The events were wonderful. And myself and the staff saw so many different people and faces that we had never seen in parks before. And so I made it, my day to spend a lot of time with those folks. There was a different composition that we'd never seen before. So I made sure that each wagon ride, I got with all the folks on those wagon rides and made sure that we appreciated them coming out and certainly inviting them never to be strangers to a park again. We wanted to see them back, and we did not want them to wait until Juneteenth ceremony next year. That they are great contributors to parks. They are supporters of parks, and I hope to see them again very, very soon. We had a meeting of the Sports Tourism Task Force. It was an exciting meeting, to say the least. There were some things discussed, especially around a recent proposal for the bathrooms, approval of the bathrooms in high school stadiums. Chairman of that task force, Supervisor Harity, also showed us a letter that he had sent to the governor asking for some supplemental funding in the amount of about $5 million to get this done. Megan McLaughlin has been from the school board, has been pushing for this since Ken and I served with her on the task force about 7 or 8 years ago. And so they're close to doing it, but it also raises the whole specter that it's an equity issue for us in parks too, that we lack in so many of our areas. We lack water and bathroom facilities. So, we need to kind of keep an eye on that and how do we service that ourselves going forward. The final report, looking at the task force report, we were going to make some recommendations. That's been moved back now until the end of the year at the request of the Board of Supervisors to do a deeper dive into issues of equity and equality in the services that we're looking to bring and the people that are going to participate in those activities. And so we are certainly looking forward to that. Carla Bruce, the Chief Equity Officer of the county, will be working with Jay and members of the task force to make sure that we are very thorough. We are very transparent in putting together that final report before we ever even get to a discussion around governance. I had a good one-on-one meeting with Chairman McKay last Thursday. It was a very, very positive meeting. He is fully in support of parks. They heard the advocates. I can tell you loud and clear, they heard the advocates. And as Chairman McKay told me, typically for every park advocate in the budget hearings, they usually hear 10 advocates for the school budget. Well, this year those numbers were flipped. And so the public was very loud and clear in their support of parks. But the chairman made sure that I communicated to the advocates that yes, we heard you. Jay and the team over at DMB are working very, very diligently. We've had some significant movement in the discussions around dollars and when those dollars are going to be advocated and when we'll be able to use them. So thank you to all of the board members. Your discussions with your supervisors, with your advocate groups definitely worked. And we will continue moving that train forward. The train is going forward, which is a very good thing. I sent to Jay, I read something in the NRPA magazine. The Department of Agriculture recently granted $420 million in funds to support parks. And they did not limit those funds to just National Park Service parks or federal parks. And so I've asked staff to investigate, what it would take for us to put a grant together, especially around an equity theme, an urban theme in seeing if we can get some of those dollars advocated. I've also written a letter to Congressman Conley to bring his attention to it and see if they can help us move the ball forward on that with some of those dollars as well. And last but not least, so we can get Linwood out before the sun goes down on the second longest day of the year, I just want to express my appreciation to Jesse Kaufman, who's leaving us and moving back home to Arkansas. Jesse was responsible, along with his team, for an unbelievable turnaround in golf revenue, a 5-fold increase in our revenue in that section. And he is going to be sorely missed. So kudos to Jesse and his team. I wish him nothing but the best if he's going to leave. I wish him nothing but the best in going back to Arkansas, and hope that we can hit the lottery twice and find a great replacement for him. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jess.
Thank you very much. So I guess I'm not going to give my 45-minute presentation because apparently Linwood wants to. I'll just do the 35-minute one. I'm very excited about today's Directors Matters because it is one of my favorite subjects, which is winning. So the entire presentation today, the theme is going to be winning. So let me share my screen. Okay, so first thing that we have is the annual Best of 2022 for Northern Virginia is out. So here are some of the winners, and I'm glad that we're virtual. So now we don't have Mike Thompson and Kyle sort of going at it like I've heard that they have in the past. But we all know how good it feels to win, and it's my favorite thing to do. And so we earned a lot of appreciation in Northern Virginia Magazine's Best of 2020 list. And so it's a reader polls, annual reader poll that recognizes a lot of the Park Authority sites, from places to have a picnic, water parks, lakefront parks, etc. So let me get into some of our winners. Best campground went to Lake Fairfax Park. Best public park actually went to Lake Accotink. So Lake Accotink won best park. And I shouldn't have said actually, that makes it seem like it. Lake Accotink won best park. Best public park runner-up was Burke Lake. So you both got up there, but again, with the winning, Lake Accotink did win. Best petting zoo, we're not surprised to see that as Frying Pan Park. Best picnic location, Burke Lake Park. So technically they won twice. Best place to stargaze. We got runner-up Turner Farm, although I'd like to see the results of that vote myself to how we got runner-up there. Best playground, no surprise, is Clemmy Jontry. Best water park is the Water Mine. So we are very excited to have won all of those categories.
That was the water mine at Lake Fairfax, right, Jay?
I thought it was the water mine at Burke Lake. Is it not? Is it not the water mine at Burke Lake? No, of course it's
There
the
is no
water mine.
water mine at Burke Lake.
I know, of course it's the water mine at not that we're counting, but yes, there's quite a few like Fairfax and Frying Pan Parks in there.
We will take a water mine if you want to give us one. I'm just.
That's the only way you're going to get it, is to take it.
Okay, so next category of winning is we had the June 6th through the 9th was the U.S. Disabled Golf Association Open Championship, which we were very lucky and excited to have. The aspirational athletes that competed during this tournament was just phenomenal. 60 adaptive golfers from 3 different countries visited Laurel Hill Golf Club to showcase their unique abilities in this championship style event that spread over 4 days. We were very excited to have gotten this event in our parks, and we are looking forward to many other events, learning how wonderful our golf facilities and other facilities are to hold national tournaments like this. Okay, this one is a favorite of mine because I started in September, and it's starting to see projects from the beginning to the end, which I think is very exciting. So we opened a playground at Martin Luther King Jr. Park. I believe it was September, October, no, it was around October, about a month or so into me being here. And after we did the tour, I was touring with some of our phenomenal operations folks, and William Douglas, who runs the operation group that manages Martin Luther King Jr. Park, walked me into the bathrooms to bring attention to the quality of the bathrooms, which were not high quality in general. And so, you know, like I brought it back, and Sarah and the operations team over here just went into high gear and got these bathrooms renovated prior to the pool opening up. And I just think it's such a phenomenal thing. And it just shows, we talk about a lot how we are a small city and we can do so many things, and we have some of the best staff that there is. So I'm so appreciative that this got done. It looks fabulous. And I'm so glad that the residents of that community get this this wonderful bathroom and table. So there was, we replaced fixtures, toilets, sinks, partitions to ensure ADA compliance, floor tiles, new exterior doors. The cost of the restroom renovation was about $98,000. We replaced the exterior pool fence. Sorry, not replaced. We cleaned, prepared, and painted the exterior pool fence at a cost of about $13,000. And so it just looks so much better and phenomenal. And I'm very excited about that. Juneteenth. Sunday was Juneteenth. And I'm going to go through some of the things, wonderful things that happened. Bill mentioned Frying Pan Park. I'm going to show a couple of photos. I think we might have a video for the next board item, so I don't get up to 30 minutes. So there was a tour for 4 at Eleanor C. Lawrence Park. There's a storyteller and crafts at Frying Pan Park, panel discussion with Black gardeners, tours and seed plantings for over 70 people at Green Spring Gardens, tours and interpretal exhibits at automotive on automotive adventures for over 150, I wish it was 1,000 people at Sully Historic Site. So I think we have some photos to show. This is Frying Pan Park, kids responding to storytellers' call for participation, families making flags to represent Juneteenth. Bill Bowie was there and Supervisor Alcorn also attended that event. Green Spring Gardens, we had a large event where 35 to 45% of the audience were people of color, which is really phenomenal. We had guest speakers and a lot of youth participation. Some of the feedback was it was inclusive, offering several points of view and multicultural. They loved the entire event, enjoyed the panel, and the kids loved all the activities and crafts. I've been to a lot of Green Spring Gardens programs, but this one was one of the best. Quote from guest speaker Maya, thank you both the Green Spring Gardens for planning and holding space for the well-organized and meaningful celebration of Black women in green spaces. I believe most folks walk away learning something new. I know I did. Here's some photos from the event at Green Spring Gardens. And at Sully Historic Site, we had free tours on the Freedom Road tour. We had interpretive panels that were out. We had displays featuring the blacksmith and carpentry tools similar to those used by the enslaved at Sully. We displayed the Emancipation Proclamation in 3 languages, and we had 150 people who interacted with the interpretive panels and asked some great questions. So we're really excited of all of the Juneteenth events that we had around our parks. And lastly, I just wanted to highlight a couple of dates for the board. On July 26th, we are going to be going to the HHS committee who wants to talk about equity in parks. And so it's 9:30 a.m. I'd like to invite any and all board members who would like to attend that. Just let us know. We'll make sure you get the link. And then looking forward to September, there's going to be a joint board and BOS meeting on Friday, September the 30th at 3:00 p.m. So we'll get you, Allison will get those dates out to you and reminders. I just wanted to sort of start the ball rolling so that you have those 2 dates in your minds. And with that, I will kindly ask Allison to save me from sharing my screen. There we go. She's so good at it. And I will turn it back over to Bill.
Thank you. This is Bill Bowie. Mr. Quincy?
I'm going to add one event to Cole's list and give kudos to the Park Authority staff that contributed to the Sully Car Show, which was held at Sully Plantation. And it's the first one after a hiatus of 1 or 2 years. It was a great success, and the Park Authority staff put forth a lot of efforts. This happens to be one of the largest classic car shows in the DMV area, so it's no small potatoes. So kudos to all the staff who participated in that.
Thank you, sir. Linwood?
Excuse me, I'll pass tonight.
I beg your pardon?
I can say some stuff if you want, but
No, that's okay.
I figured you all listened to me enough already tonight.
Thanks a lot, Linwood. Tim?
Tim Hackman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I pass.
Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Mike Thompson. Quick things. One, I also want to thank Jesse Kaufman for all he did on the golf front. I mean, as somebody who has chaired that committee now for a while, we have dealt with all sorts of issues on that end, and he in his time there, he just did a tremendous amount and was tremendously helpful. So I just want to add my kudos on that end. And then I only want to do a call out. I have no idea who told the young children that they should reach out to me, but apparently several young children went to Burke Lake. They went fishing. They want more fish put into Burke Lake so that it's easier to catch more of them. And they wish we would sell worms there at the lake so that it was easier to keep going. And I promised I would bring it up to staff. So it's official. I brought it up. More fish, more worms, please. Thank you.
They don't sell worms anymore?
Well, apparently it was closed. They didn't know if it was closed all the time or not, but they were very disappointed because they wanted more worms.
Okay, all right, good deal. Important stuff. Jim?
Well, as soon as I stop laughing, I'll pass, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Maggie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Maggie Godbold. I just want to point out all the great work that the folks at the Sully Historic Site have been doing. That site has a very long history and there's a lot of difficult subjects. And the staff there are approaching it honestly and openly, and it's very, very much appreciated by everybody in the community. So I just want to call them out for that. And after that, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Kyle?
I'll pass. Thank you.
Cynthia?
This is Cynthia Jacobs Carter, and I will pass.
Abena?
I'll pass. Thank you.
Mr. Khan?
Well, in solidarity with my brother Linwood, I'll pass.
Thank you, everybody. Great meeting. Appreciate everything that you do. And with that, we are adjourned. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good 4th of July. Be safe.